Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Would you like to use Saryn? She actually packs quite a punch behind those beautiful bodies. So in this video, we would like to take a look at how actually we can use Saryn to our fullest potential. Remember to stick until the end of the video for a bonus content. Without further ado, let's hop right into it. Saryn is what I usually call the Poison Queen, since she can do poisonous damage which is include toxin, corrosive, and viral to all flesh units. Her passive grants all status effects last 25% longer, so it will be much more useful for all those element dots damage. Her first ability, Spores, allows Saryn to spray corrosive spores onto the enemy. As long as the spores lash onto the enemy, the damage will only keep on increasing until it is no longer spread onto the other enemies. Her second ability, Molds, shut on her skin, not only cleanse out any status effect on herself, but also gave her a brief moment of time of speed. While her third ability, Toxic Lash, allow all of her weapons force proccing toxic damage. Especially this is double effect for melee weapon, that is why in most of the time you will be using melee weapon when using Toxic Lash, but also all the guns work quite well as well. And last but not least, Miasma allows Saryn to cast a viral cloud to affect all enemies and dealing viral damage. Since a lot of your weapons can deal viral damage as well as viral primals, these abilities are most of the time that we will be subsing off to. In this build, our main damage income will be our first ability Spores. Since we want to spread through a lot of enemies at a large distance, that's why we'll be using Overextended and Augur Reach to increase our range. We're also using Umbral Intensify and Blind Range to increase our strength, not only to improve Spores damage, but also try to cover up Overextended negative ability strength problems. We're using Prime Continuity here because we need to make sure that Spores will be able to last longer without decaying so much. Adaptation, Umbral Vitality, Rejuvenation, as well as our Arcane Guardian to make sure that Saryn can be health tanky so that it won't die so easily during spore spreading. And last but not least, Prime Flow and Arcane Energize here in order to cover the efficiency problems. In this build, we'll be trying to substitute off Miasma into something else that can buff toxic lash damage, such as Roar, because Roar is the few abilities that can actually buff toxic lash damage, as well as we'll be trying to run in the augment Venom dose here, since this corrosive damage that will be run on ourselves is actually able to add up to toxic lash damage. Thus, toxic lash can become so much deadly to all enemies that are trying to come up with you. Will be optimized with Blind Rage, Augur Secrets, Umbral Intensify to give us such high strength in order to maximize the damage output. Narrow-minded and Prime Continuity here to increase our duration. Since range is not necessary here, so there's no point on increasing range anymore. Rolling Guard is here because we're not going to become health tanky in this build. In other words, I should be going Brief Respite in my auras, but as you can see, polarity problems. That's why I'm using Arcane Barrier as a secondary shield gating mate. We're also using Prime Flow and Arcane Energize here. Still energy problems, so we need to use these too. For your Excellent slot, you can actually go with Prime Sure-Footed, but as you can see, I have no such full rank mods here, so there's no such thing for me to use from. Before we continue, if you enjoyed the video, why not leave a like and subscribe to my channel so that you won't miss out any US content in my channel. This last build here is my personal favorite build because this build will balancing between offense and defense. So In this build, we'll be still using Blind Rage, but we're using Transient Fortitude to increase our strength here, as well as using Venom Dose to still improving our Toxic Lash damage. But wait, we're using the original version of Vitality, Adaptation, and Regenerative modes? Yes, we'll be using these augment in order for us to stay alive for as long as possible. This one will be much more better compared to Rejuvenation, since Rejuvenation only allows us to get 3 health regen, but Regenerative mode can scale up with ability strength, so this will be a much more better in terms of survival. We're just using only one narrow-minded, so that this value of ability duration is still enough for us to stay a long time for Toxic Lash. We're also using Prime Flow and Arcane Energize here to cover up our ability efficiency negative problems. But for our auras, we're using combat disciplines, since despite we be losing health for each enemy kill, still with adaptations here, we can manage to reduce the self-damage here, but also this self-damage will also proc out Arcane Avengers. Means that every time we proc out this Avenger, we can have a chance, we can get ourselves the critical chance for our weapons. This will be useful. Power Drift is also a slot where you can run whatever you want, so you can also run Prime Sure-Footed, but as you can see here, I'm ranked, so I'm not using it. But wait, for our abilities here, we subsume off with Pillage. That's because in this build, I'm not just only want to be offensive, but also want to be defensive as well. But what terms? Both health and shield. Pillage not only strip armors here, but also you can shield gating with this ability. Despite it has 3 seconds here, but if you spamming this ability, you can still manage to shield gating in just a short amount of time, which is also useful. And that's it from this video. How do you think about it? If you enjoyed it, why not try to leave your comments down below to see that what ideas do you want to share to all of us. And as always, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye. Poison Day. Poison for the frail. Poison Night. Poison for fright. Saryn.